And as I said, Aaron will be leading us through the presentation with PowerPoint, video, image, and responding to your questions and answers. There will also be an evaluation form that we encourage you to fill out, and we are working on a way to send that link to you directly following the webinar, so hopefully we'll get that out in a timely manner. So I'm happy to introduce Aaron to you this afternoon. Aaron is a digital content strategist for the United Church of Canada's General Counsel Office. Previously, Aaron was executive producer for WonderCafe.ca and the United Church's Emerging Spirit campaign. He leads the social media for the General Counsel Office, including Wonder Cafe, Facebook, and Twitter. So Aaron, I'm going to disappear and turn it over to you, and welcome everyone.
Thank you very much, Josephine. That's great. It's great to see everybody on here. I think I know a few of you, so that's good. Thanks for showing up and participating in this. It's a new medium for me, pretty much. I've been on several webinars before, but it still feels new. I'm much more comfortable in a conversation kind of workshop model. So I know it's a little different when you have to use the chat, but I really encourage you to share your questions or feedback, and I will try to respond to that as we go, kind of social media style, kind of back and forth if we can do that. So feel free, and I may miss some, but I'll do my best to catch them while I'm going through this. This is really meant to be an introduction to social media in the church. I know a lot of people are actively using social media, and so you may not need an introduction. I'm going to try to give an overview and make sure we're all on the same page, and just to make sure we're all familiar. And then if we can either in discussion through questions or just through conversation, we may be able to take it a little deeper than an introduction. But if there's any terms or concepts or whatever that people aren't familiar with, just try to leave a message on the chat, and I'll respond to it. It is meant to be an introduction, though, so perhaps we can point toward another webinar in the future that's more specifically around how to use various tools. I know we could do one just on Facebook itself, just on Twitter itself, or whatever. But if there's interest, we can do that afterwards. But please let me know what you're thinking, then we can make those plans. So what I want to cover today is introduction to social media in the church. We'll look at Web 1.0 and Web 2.0, and then the social media revolution, kind of the transitions between those and where we're at now. I'd like to talk a bit about why the church should care about using social media, and what are some ways that the church actually can use social media in the manifestation of our local ministries. We can do a brief overview of the tools that are available. Many of them folks are probably already familiar with, but just in case. And then at the end, kind of talk a bit about how you move from social media chatter to engaging mission, to using social media to actually connect with your local communities and make it more than just a communications piece. It can be an actual tool for ministry. So any questions on any of that? So, okay, as you probably know, the way we've been using the web in the last 5 or 6 years has dramatically changed. I don't know if you're like me, but 5 years ago or 6 years ago, I used to surf maybe 20 websites, maybe more than that, just in a day. Just in my average surfing on the internet, I would go on a huge variety of different websites, news sites, friend sites, blogs, all this. But now, if you're anything like me, your internet use has been reduced to just a handful of the most popular social media sites. And And that's pretty much across the board. Most people now, I think you can safely say a majority of people mainly use Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, the Google search to connect, to find what they're looking for, or to have it delivered to them in their newsfeed every day. It's hard to imagine that, at least it is for me, that these sites that we use so much on a daily basis are only about 5 years old, 6 years old. Facebook was set up or launched in 2004 and really didn't become popular until a couple of years after that. YouTube was launched in 2005 and Twitter in 2006. So, really, sites and tools that are pretty commonplace to us and thoroughly known throughout popular culture are really new. So there's no so it's not a surprise that a lot of institutions and individuals are trying to learn how to use them and trying to learn what this new form of communication means for their churches or their institutions or even for themselves. So social media is a very different way of communicating, as I'm sure you know. It's back and forth, two-way, three-way, multi-directional, and this has major implications for the church, whose mission is to share the word. It has really brought us to a crossroad into really needing to consider how we're sharing our message. Is this better, Donna? Hello? I'm still talking. Donna, anybody else having trouble? Looks like some of you can hear me and others can't. Cutting in and out. I'll try to speak up. I don't know if that helps. Is it still cutting in and out for people, or can you hear me? I'm still, let's see, Bill Booth says I'm speaking quietly. I'll try to speak up. Some of you can hear me fine. Thanks, Nancy. Oh, dear. I guess it would help if I continue speaking. Okay, seems about half of you are able to hear me with no problem. Another half are maybe having some problems. Yeah, make sure your volumes are on with this. Yes, I'm not sure Josephine can help with that. For those of you who don't hear anything, if you check the speaker button at the top of your page, it's on the left of the at the top panel. You pull down and make sure your speakers are unmuted. Okay, I think we'll go ahead, and there's probably not much to look at on the webinar since it's mostly speaking, but I can If those of you who can't hear are able to get back on, I can try to respond with some questions. It also be, I think it's being recorded and will be posted later. So yes, I'll give it a shot. Okay, sorry, folks. I think what I was saying is social media has really brought the church to a crossroads in how we communicate our ministries and share with those in our communities about our life of faith. Because it's not traditional communication, which has traditionally just been one way. We are being asked to use the medium and engage with people in connections that are, and even relationships that are online and back and forth. This is a very different way of communicating for most institutions. It's and something that we're not all used to. But still, the things that have remained the same, people continue to search for spiritual meaning and substance in their life. And as we all know, we live in a post-Christendom era, and their connection to the churches isn't what it once was. In my work with Emerging Spirit, we I guess we're shocked to discover the low level of knowledge about the church and the low level of knowledge about the Bible, all these things, which were taken for granted, not so long ago. And so with social media, a two-way, three-way, multi-directional form of conversation, the church is being asked in a new way to share its message. And it's a great opportunity because it gives us a chance to talk about what we believe, why we believe it, how we live, and really connect in a very personal way with individuals in a way that we couldn't do before. As we all know, there are millions and millions of people using social media, and they're taking their social media is what they use to find a date, to buy a car, to decide what movie to go to decide where to go to eat, and so it's pretty obvious that if they have spiritual or moral concerns, they're going to take that to the internet as well. And if we're not on these networks and using social media, then we're going to miss these conversations. So I guess that's my plug for us all to get on social media. It's not going to save our churches necessarily, or bring thousands of people into our pews, but it will, I think, reconnect us in a new way with our communities and with those people who we live among. So, and if we're not on there, our spiritual perspective will be lost. So I think it's very important for us to stay involved in our online networks. I see some people are still having trouble hearing me. Is that right? Yes. Oh dear. Okay, I'm trying to speak up as much as I can. I don't know if that's helping. Others are still able to hear me. Okay.
Is it that you're too quiet?
I don't think so. Can some folks hear me? Excuse me, 1 second. Oh, is that any better? Sound is fine. Thanks, Scan. Thanks.
There will be a recorded version, so if people aren't seeing it, they can watch the recording.
Okay. Yes, that was just Sharon Buttry, who's with Edge, and she was just telling me that there will be a recorded version for people who aren't able to hear, so that will contain the sound, so people are able to plug in that way too. So, okay, thanks for your patience. Those of you who can hear, and those of you who can't hear as well, thank you for your patience. So. I think we'll just continue here, and folks can pop on. Pop on with your questions if you have any. So as people know, as you probably heard, social media is very much what they have been calling a Web 2.0 way of using the internet. And to understand Web 2.0, it's helpful to understand Web 1.0. I have here a screenshot from the United Church of Canada website from 2001. It's very much an example of Web 1.0. It's a static piece of information. It's just posted there. Just a bunch of links, announcements, things like that. And it's, even though it uses an electronic medium, it's not interactive at all. You can click through on the links, which was a plus, but it's just static. And I think if we look at a lot of our church websites, a lot of them exist in this manner. There's no way for two-way conversation or for people to engage those behind the website. So Web 1.0 is very much like posting an online brochure or pamphlet and then walking away expecting people to engage with it and then I guess follow up if they want. Web 2.0 is, as we know, two-way, multi-directional form of communication that people, they share horizontally, diagonally, vertically, every which way with their peers, and it's independent of a publisher authority. And in this style of peer-to-peer sharing, it matters less what kind of institutional backing a person may have, if any. Basically, we have all become our own editors and our own publishers. What makes a difference in whether or not you engage with a person online is trust. Basically, if you want people to read what you post, connect with the information you're putting up on the internet, on your blogs, your Facebook pages, or your Twitter, you need to have developed a level of trust and relationship with your audience, and that takes time. It's not a matter of just posting one thing and walking away. You have to stay there and engage with people and really develop a relationship with them. And this basically new way of publishing, new form of mass media, if you will, if you can get enough followers, really challenges the traditional way of publishing and kind of institutional communications that the church has been used to using. The church is now pretty much on an even playing field with individuals and other institutions, and really, as we know, the church doesn't have the same authority among many people that it once did. So we have to earn it. Social media is very much an earned form of communication. In order to get people to follow you and listen to you, you need to earn their trust by posting great things. If you show wisdom on the web, if you post interesting and helpful links, you're going to get people who follow you that trust you, can come to trust you. So Web 2.0 is really creates an even playing field for all individuals and institutions. And to get people to read our material, we have to build their trust. It's about relationship, really. Thanks for that question, Wendy. Yes, staying around. Basically on Facebook, Twitter, your blog, other forums, it's not very acceptable to just post information and then not come back, especially if people are discussing it. There's more and more the expectation that the person who posts the information will be around to discuss it, to follow up on the discussion, and to respond to it. So I guess that's what I mean by sticking around or staying around. Um, because it's a two-way, three-way, multi-directional way of connecting, it's really expected that you're there to respond to people's comments. Hi, Jeff. Welcome back. Yes, you were a little early yesterday, one day early. So what are some ways the church can use social media? Oh, I'm sorry. First, here are the social media icons that I'm sure you're all familiar with. These are basically our new forms of our new tools for communicating, and our ways of connecting with those both inside and outside of the church. And what are some ways that we can use it? I think one of the primary ways we can use social media is for telling our story. The church has a beautiful story about changed lives, transformed communities, struggle for justice, light in the midst of darkness. And sharing this story can give others hope that there is a different way to live that is faithful, spiritual, connected, and that we are not alone. I think the longer we spend, the more time we spend in the church, the more we forget there are people out there who really have no connection to a faith community or faith life. And social media can help us to tell that story. Social media is a tool for helping us connect with those with whom we normally may have no connection at all. This is before now, it's been fairly rare to have the opportunity to share our spiritual and religious experiences with others through a form of mass media, like social media. And really, the news and movies and pop culture has defined the church for a whole generation basically, and we haven't been able to tell our story. Social media levels the playing field and allows us to tell our own story by connecting with those who follow us. Another way the church can use social media is to listen to others. This is probably one of the best opportunities that social media offers the church. It's an opportunity to listen to the spiritual and moral questions that people out there have. While before we heard those anecdotally or in our relationships, now we can hear them and even gather them. That was one of the main reasons that the United Church of Canada opened Wonder Cafe, was to be able to engage with people and hear their spiritual and moral questions, to really see where people are at. And I think through that, we've been able to see that spiritual seeking is still a strong concern among many people, even if the relevance or the importance of the church has declined for some. One of the in our emerging spirit study, one of the things we found out was that most people are afraid or intimidated of the church by the church because they consider it a telling culture. They think the church will tell them what to believe, what to do, and what to think. If we if we approach people in a listening posture through social media, we can develop authentic relationships with them, both off and online, and actually connect with them in the places where they have they express their greatest need. Bill Booth asks, to what degree should we use our brand when we create our social media presence, I would say using a brand is important, especially if you're communicating via social media on behalf of your church. It's also good to have an individual presence and as well. I think there's a place for having both. A brand is helpful because people sometimes feel more comfortable approaching a brand than an individual they don't know. but a brand is also impersonal. So, I think with a brand, a brand or a church name, let's put it that way, Irene. If you have a church name, if you're approaching people via social media using your church name, people expect straight information. They don't necessarily expect an individual to connect with them. But if they're able to meet the pastor or the minister or a leader through that brand, then that's more personal information that they expect. So listening enables us to connect with people where they're at and to develop our ministries in ways that respond to real concerns. Another way social media can be helpful to the church is in connecting. It offers us the opportunity to connect with people in our communities and around the world, and it offers opportunity to model transparency and trust that perhaps we don't have all the answers, but we're willing to listen to people's questions and engage them. Social media is a peer-to-peer medium, and it really offers us the opportunity to reposition traditional church leadership from the traditional sage on a stage to a guide on a side. And we talked about this a lot with Emerging Spirit, and it was great to have the technology that went along with that kind of work, so that we knew people were seeking a different kind of relationship with their church and with religion in general, and social media on the technological side allowed us to do that. Jeff says he loves the United Church Open Group Facebook page and the Canadian Christian Left. Yes, those are two great Facebook group pages. And in a second, we'll talk about the difference between groups and pages. But anybody on Facebook should look those up. One is called United Church of Canada, and it's a group. There's also United Church of Canada page, the Canadian Christian Left, which is a fairly new group. And I've seen Jeff. I've seen you on there. And social media makes it easier to connect with people in a real way because again, it's peer-to-peer, it's a level playing field, but it also challenges us in some sense to let go of control and authority, sense of authority, if we might have one, which is a very appropriate posture to have in the post-Christendom era. Social media also is a great tool for organizing. We can organize events, fundraising campaigns, or as we see in this picture of one of our kooky church flash mobs. It's a great way to connect with people quickly and to get people to respond even on the spot, especially because social media is, a lot of people use social media on their cell phones now, so you can do it on the move. Gord asks, out of curiosity, how many out there have a congregational Facebook page or group? And how would they set it up? We'll look at Facebook briefly in a minute, and we can talk about setting up people's pages if they haven't already done that, or groups, and which one's best for their group. Taking risks is one of the another great opportunity offered by social media. Social media is a very forgiving culture, and you can try out ideas and thoughts, campaigns, things like that you're looking for feedback on. If you go into using social media with a posture of humility, and go looking for comments that can actually help improve your content and your interaction, then I think you'll be able to find lots of help there. But it's a place to kind of put yourself out there and like I said, it's a very forgiving culture. As long as you stick around and respond to people's comments and questions and take them in in an open way, I think you'll find it a great place to try new things out. So let's see what the chat is saying. If you give me a second to look at it. People have their own, a lot of folks have their own Facebook pages. And yes, you do have to stay on top of them to update. Yes, if you post your links to your Facebook pages, people will be able to find them. And Bill Booth notes a big concern that a lot of people have had was convincing church leadership to let go of control of interactions. Bill, the advice I have for that means, for letting or helping church leadership to let go of some of the control of the interaction online, is that, trying to convince them that if they aren't on this medium, if they don't let go of some control, which is implied by this medium, that people are going to have these conversations anyways. If there's any criticism or concerns, is out there anyways, being shared on social media. And so your best bet is to be active on social media and engage it, be able to respond to it personally, and let people know what they know. A lot of times criticisms or critiques are based on wrong information. So being active on social media gives you the opportunity to correct some of that. Yes, some privacy concerns about using social media, which we can also talk about. Okay, and as people are discussing online on the chat, social media really is about people connecting to each other. I always say social media isn't technological. It's not a technological issue necessarily. It's so easy to use. So many people have access. It's really more about relationships and people connecting with each other. So there's a role for brands, I should say, or institutions online, but really social media is fueled by personal connections. So, and even if you're institutional, you have an institutional presence on Facebook, at some point people will look to connect with a real person behind that logo or that image. So responding to some of the chat, Jeff says one of the challenges is to get people to come to the church Facebook page. And I think that is an indicator of the amount of work that you need to put into it to get people to come to your page and to get your information out there. You need to advertise your social media presence in your church bulletin, on your bulletin board, via announcements, things like that. And, it takes some work to get people to stay engaged with your pages. That's one of the things that I find people often aren't ready for when they go into building a social media plan for their church, is they aren't ready for the time and commitment it takes. It's easy to make a post, but it's a lot more time consuming to actually engage with people online. And just being online creates another set of expectations that people expect us to be able to respond to. So yes, it's a challenge, and I think promoting your Facebook presence or your Twitter presence or even your website is a good place to start, because you can start to develop some critical mass there. Ken notes that guess as a member of the aging congregation, or your congregation is aging and Facebook was geared to a younger crowd. Yes, that could be the case. I mean, I know in looking at Facebook stats, the largest group of folks joining Facebook and actually staying active on Facebook are women over the age of 50 or 55. So older, women who are older than 55 are very active on Facebook and the largest growing group. Even on our United Church of Canada Facebook page, I think 2/3 of the people are women over 50. So age, especially on Facebook, I think age is having less to do with it. There's more and more people connected, connecting via social media of all ages, really. Okay, and what I want to do now is look at some social media platforms. I think most of you should be familiar with many of these, but I thought I'd give an overview of each, and you can let me know if you have any questions or concerns about each. Okay, let's start with United Church social media platforms. Wonder Cafe, I don't know how many people have visited it among this group. How many of you, maybe you could type in, are members on Wonder Cafe or have visited it? Wonder Cafe, even after our advertising campaign, Wonder Cafe still is getting about 40,000 visits a month. So it's still pretty active. There's still a large range of discussion. I think one thing people don't realize is that Wonder Cafe and it was well ahead of the social media curve. It was launched in 2006, just about the same time that Facebook and Twitter were really becoming popular. Wonder Cafe offers a blogging space there you can see the link there in the left panel. There's also a space for churches, United Church congregations, to build a microsite, which is basically set up for United Churches that don't already have a web presence. It's free and pretty easy to use, templated web presence, and it's searchable in the search engine of Wonder Cafe. A lot of most churches, I would say, even have their own website now, so there's less need for that. But church microsite, can still be a good place to connect with, especially with the audience on Wonder Cafe. There's also a lot of United Church folks on Wonder Cafe, so a lot of conversation revolves around United Church concerns and issues. So if you haven't been to Wonder Cafe in a while, feel free to stop by and drop in. Your logins should still work. New conversations every day still. So and we're getting new visitors, new participants and visitors all the time. Sorry. Yes, Gord raised a good point, that social media means, or social means different things to different people, and that some fear virtual community will erode face-to-face community. I hear that a lot, and I always reassure people, I don't think social media is taking the place of flesh and blood or face-to-face community. In fact, I think it only complements it. Just as the telephone or writing letters or anything else can also complement and build community, social media is the same. It can, help you organize community meetings. It can help you share more information, but it's not necessarily taking the place of face-to-face conversations. Yes, thank you, Wendy. Café Change, I was going to just bring that up, is the French partner site of Wonder Cafe. And it also has, for those of you familiar with Wonder Cafe, it's basically exactly the same site in French. And anybody who is a francophone or who wants to, improve their French is welcome to go there as well. What the Edge asked, what would I say to, or what would you say to the older person who says social media for the church is really antisocial? Basically, that yes, nothing can replace flesh and blood or face-to-face communications and community, but social media can help set that up, and that's how you get to know new people and bring them in and connect with them. I've always argued, and through my through my experience on Wonder Cafe, where we've had some real life issues come through come through the online virtual community, so that I think virtual community is real life community, really, but yes, it doesn't take the place of flesh and blood community. So yes, if you haven't been on Wonder Cafe in a while, feel free to come and visit. United Church Canada also has another social media platform called the Church Leadership Network. This one is especially for those in ministry personnel and lay leaders, any leadership capacity in United Church Canada. It's a specific audience, and so some of the conversations you get are going to be a little more focused than perhaps on Wonder Cafe or other social media platforms. They do vet people who apply to be part of it, and but it's it's pretty. If you're in any leadership capacity in Church Canada, you can't be a member, whether you're lay, ministry personnel or what. It's also a great place to get information, stay on top of information from the United Church Canada, especially related to administrative matters for your congregation or whatever. It's growing. I think it basically has about 2,000 members, which is a huge, pretty good percentage of United Church leaders. I will put let me see if I can post the URL. I have it here somewhere. But the Church Leadership Network is a great place for those of you in leadership. And it is a United Church platform as well. Okay, now Facebook. Everybody has been chatting about Facebook, so I think a lot of people are already active on Facebook, and I find a lot of people are active on it personally, but they don't know how to use Facebook for their church. So Facebook offers a variety of ways to interact with people. The first is a profile, which most of you are probably familiar with. It's what individuals use to connect with people and accept friends and things like that. Groups and organizations and celebrities have the option of making a profile page. It's open for, visible to everybody by default. It's a public page. I'm showing here the United Church of Canada page. Anybody can become a fan of a page and receive updates from that page in their news feed. And one of the benefits of having a page is that it offers the brand, as we were talking about before, or the organizational name. And it also offers great analytics. It's easy to see using a Facebook page who is visiting your site and what they. Sorry, my cell phone was going off. And what who they are and how they're engaging with the information on your site. You can see what they shared, what they liked, things like that. So the Facebook page, I would say, is very important for United Church of Canada congregations to have set up. For those of you who don't already have one, organization can also, or anybody actually, can actually also set up a group. We mentioned here in the chat earlier. A group is a place for people to share common interests and discuss issues. It can be public. You can have a public group, or you can have a group that requires administrators to approve you before you can be a part of it. Or you can have a private group that is completely invisible to the rest of Facebook, at least in theory. Anybody can create a group around any topic. And as was mentioned here, United Church of Canada has a group. There's a popular group called Canadian Christian Left. Rendezvous, for the Rendezvous event, had a great group going before the event. And group creators of groups can also send out event invitations. So that's a great tool to have, and people will receive it in their email or their newsfeed. Okay, let me look at the chat for a second and see what's being discussed. Maybe I can answer some of your questions. Yes, computer skills are for especially folks over 50 can be very important, and I find certainly with members of my family it's a concern and a struggle, and that would be a great thing for local congregations to offer, maybe tutoring from younger people for elders, or something Edge can offer maybe, but a lot of and Josephine, maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of what Edge does is on webinars would require some social media or some computer skills already, I think, even to connect with it, though Edge also does a lot of congregational based services that maybe computer skills can be one of those. Okay, another social media platform. Oh, here's the United Church group before we move on. It's a quite active group, and I think there's, I can't read, about 1,200, 1,300 members now. So please try it out if you're on Facebook. Another popular platform, I'm sure you're all aware of it. As a friend of mine says, YouTube is everybody's favorite website. And I think that's especially true among younger people. But video can be a great way to share information about your congregation. It's, you can show people, rather than just telling people what you're about and what you're like, you can actually show people. And for people who haven't been in a church in a long time, video can be a video link on your church website or on your Facebook page. Can be a great way of letting people know what to expect when they come into your church, so they can see it, they can meet some of the people, they can see how people dress, things like that. So you can set up your own video channel on YouTube channel, and this is the United Church of Canada YouTube channel, and as you can see, you can add favorite videos and kind of make a playlist for people to see when they come to the page. And of course, you can also post these videos on your website or on your Facebook page as well. So video is becoming more and more accessible for people, even with an iPhone or something like that. You can make a video pretty easily. Edge did a webinar not too long ago with Kate Rod from here in the General Counsel office, which includes some tips for making a good video. Good lighting, good sound, things like that. Are very important. So you might want to look at the recorded version of that and check out, and maybe your church can create your own video. Twitter is one of my favorite social media platforms. It's for some people it's difficult to get a hang of. You're limited to 140 characters. Your friendships are not like on Facebook. They're actually on Twitter. They're non-symmetrical, meaning that somebody can follow you, but you don't have to be following them. Conversations are also not linear. So, if you're looking at somebody's page, you may only be seeing half of the conversation. But that being said, it's still one of the obviously one of the most popular social media platforms. there's a lot of volume on Twitter, and so I always advise people, if you're going to get involved on Twitter, excuse me, if you're going to get involved in Twitter, you have to be ready to participate a lot, and that doesn't mean a post a week or a tweet a week, or even a tweet every day. The most successful people on Twitter tweet several, many times, maybe a dozen times every hour, all the time, every day. So, I don't know if you need to do that much, but certainly you need to be prepared to put, a couple of tweets out there a day just to stay visible on people's newsfeed. And there are some great folks on Twitter in the United States, Canada. You can see them, a couple of them right there on our page. Richard Bott, Daniel Hayward, very active on Twitter. There's a Wonder Cafe Twitter account, as well as United Church Twitter account. Yes, Bill, there are ways to set it up so your Twitter posts go directly to your Facebook page. Depending on how much you tweet, it can be maybe helpful or not. Yeah, they look awful, as Irene says, and a lot of people are bugged by Twitter posts on Facebook. I think you can get away with it if you only tweet occasionally, but if you tweet a lot, it's a different scale than usual communications on Facebook. So you might want to just consider whether that's right for you. One way to manage, if you're really active on Twitter and you find it difficult to manage all your streams, your mentions, your retweets, your hashtag searches, things like that, I find Hootsuite to be a really important and great tool for me. I manage the United Church of Canada Twitter stream, and as well as Wonder Cafe and some of our hashtag searches, which if any of you were active in spirit sighting recently, that was a hashtag based event, and if you followed the hashtag on Twitter, you could see a lot of activity taking place from all kinds of different people. Hashtags are used on Twitter to gather tweets from a variety of people into a certain stream. And again, you don't have to actually follow somebody to read their tweets, so you can get to know a lot of new people that way. And Google Plus. I don't know how many of you. Yes, that's Hootsuite. It's I'll write it down here. It's free. It's Canadian, and I find it really helpful. Google Plus. I don't know how many of you are in Google Plus. It's kind of the new social media platform on the scene. It's obviously produced by Google. It's very clean in design. I think a lot of people who have been involved in social media for a long time really love it because it's so much cleaner and works in a lot of areas so much better than Facebook. It's gaining in popularity, but it's nowhere near Facebook where Facebook is. But it does offer some great tools that I think churches can take advantage of. One is the ability to sort your followers into circles, and you can send out messages just to specific circles, so that helps with some of the privacy concerns I think that people may be having. You can make a circle called, as you see there on the top left, friends, family, family acquaintances, a whole bunch of different circles. You can create any circle you want and put people in it, and then only send messages to those people. It would only be visible to those people. So include in that circle. So I think for ministers and for others in kind of more sensitive roles, Google Plus circles are really a great tool. Facebook has this tool as well. But it's not as easy to use on Facebook as it is on Google Plus, which is just basically I can drag and drop any of these people into any circle I want, and that's how easy it is. So Bill Booth asks if Google Plus posts can be sent to Facebook. No, I don't. There may be a way, but I haven't seen it happening too much yet. Or the other way around. I don't know if Facebook posts can be sent to Google Plus yet either, but I'm sure there will be ways in the future to do that. Jeff, blogs. No, I haven't mentioned blogs yet, but that is the next item on the list, and I might as well speak to it now. Blogs are one of the most important things, I think, for churches to use in social media. They're a great way to put out, for ministers to put out sermons and things like that. And they also make a great hub for your social media efforts. So that you can create a hub around your blog and connect people to it via social media, as Jeff is doing now. With blogs, there are a lot of great tools that are free. Blogger is great. It's a Google product. WordPress is something that a lot of people, more and more people, are using. We find it really easy to use here. There are some United Church blogs we're just getting started on. You can find those, I believe, via the Edge site as well. So I see a couple people are discussing social media policies. That's a good point. And I think just to wrap up, because I think we're almost out of time, if we were to do social media 2.1 or 1.02 or whatever the next level is of this, it would likely look like this. Basically, moving from social media chatter to mission, one of the first things to do is to develop a plan. What is your social media plan? First thing to do in that is to figure out who you are and what gifts your church has to offer. What is God calling you to be to the people in your community or to your audience? And once you determine these things, you can kind of set your audience, your primary audience, your secondary audience, who you want to connect with, and set some social media goals. So, do you want to set a number of followers, a number of posts, a number of visitors to your church as your goal? I think for everybody, it's an individual thing. And maybe we can talk about that in a forthcoming webinar. In order to build your social media plan, you also need to consider your capacity. Like I always say, social media is cheap, but it's not free. It takes a lot of time to develop authentic, engaging, effective social media presence, and you need to consider your capacity to see if you're able to do that or not. And if you're not, if you have a more limited capacity, you may just want to choose some platforms like blogs or maybe YouTube, get less interaction than Facebook or Twitter and require less time. So capacity is one thing to consider before you launch your social media presence. And then platforms. Once you figure out who your audience is and what your goals are and what your capacity is, you can choose a platform. It can be one of the ones we discussed. A blog would be helpful. A blog could be helpful. You could have just solely a Twitter campaign, which a lot of people have done successfully. You could just be on Facebook. You need to be able to choose your platform out of those we discussed. There's no right answer to if you should be active on all of them or just one of them. I don't think you need to be active on all of them necessarily. That's difficult to keep up with, but you can choose one that's the best fit, one or two that are the best fit for your community. And then you need to take action, I think. And there's a lot of tips we could give about when are the best time to make your social media posts. How do you develop guidelines for staff using social media? I actually have a link here to people were talking about policy. I actually have a link here to United Church policy. or guidelines, I guess, not really policy, guidelines for using social media if you're involved with youth. That's a good connection to have. I hope that link works. And what is too long? The link URL is too long. Let's see if I can post it again. Yeah, it's very long. I know. It's I can shorten it for you if you want. Right now, if you hold on 1 second. Thanks. That's a good point. There, that might be better. There's a shortened version. That's another thing Hootsuite allows or makes it possible to do right in the platform is shorten your URLs. Another step that you can take, we can discuss later, is how to use geography-based searches in your social media. That's one of the most helpful tools, I think, for churches, is being able to connect, especially on Twitter, with people who are in similar town or community as you. So, any additional questions people may have? I think we're almost out of time. Sorry for the sound problems that people are having. I'm not sure if it's on our end or on the other end, but as Josephine from the Edge mentioned, you can click on the recorded version, and I believe there will be sound on there, right? Okay.